right. Thank you very much. You're welcome to DAS, Digital Assets Show, the Christmas edition, right? Because we have like 2 days to Christmas. Today's the 23rd of December, 2023. My name is Oluwaseun. I am your host to the most. You can call me that. This is the only show that's going to be taking you on that exhilarating ride of the fast-paced world of cryptocurrency. Y'all know I'm a Bitcoin maxi, but if that product is good, if it's verifiable, if the founders have credibility and integrity, of course we're going to showcase them. Here we talk about policy, economy, technology, market. We talk everything on this show. You're welcome to Pop Central, channel 189, DSTV. You're watching us in 17 West African countries. I'm very glad to be here again. And I have 2 wonderful guests sitting with me and 3 awesome guests joining us virtually. I'm going to introduce you to everybody. But yes, welcome to the Digital Assets Show. On my right, the first guy that I have is my man. When we have shared money together. Although that day I disturbed you, I wanted to finish you. Maybe was it like $30,000 or something like that?
Yeah, it
it was USDT.
USDT.
Yeah. So Timi is a god. That's what they call him. You can find him on Twitter. You can find him on Instagram. Timi is my guy. Timi is a P2P OTC on-ground Bitcoin businessman. You're welcome to the
show. It's nice being here with you. I've been seeing a lot about the buzz on the show on Twitter, everywhere, and I've been looking forward to having this conversation, lending a voice, to the ecosystem and talking about the evolution of money. It's like what I'm passionate about. So, when you texted me and hit me up, I was already down already. Let's do this, let's go, bro. It was already something that has been brewing in my head. So I was like, man, this is not like a coincidence. Like, this is what we have to do at this point in time. And the thing was so crazy. Yeah? Like immediately we concluded yesterday. Yeah. That's how the old space started blowing up last night. The regulation came out.
We're gonna come back to that. We're gonna come back to that. No. That's a happy one for us. Some way.
You could see that everything is flowing in line. At this point in time where we are going into this.
And I'm so glad. This is just I think this is our 6th episode, right, producer? This is our 6th episode, and we are already getting regulatory clarity. I'm very glad. Oluwaseun, my brother from another mother, the CEO of Mariblock. You're welcome to Digital Assets Show.
Thanks, man. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. And when you reached out with this, I was like, yeah, I'd love to jump on it. I'd love to have this conversation. And I'm sure there's a lot, because it's so coincidental, that just yesterday we got that regulatory clarity.
Yes.
I feel very lucky that it's just before the show that happened, right?
Yeah.
It just makes it all the more interesting for me.
I know.
Thank you, man.
I know, right? It's so nice. So, honestly, let me tell you how I got the news. It was one of my big homie, one of the leaders in the space, the regulatory space, and he's going to be joining us from the diaspora today. I think he went to chill with his family, but I had to beg him. I said, please come out of your holiday and spend just 10 minutes with me live. Mm-hmm. So he's been guiding me to success, and he's been guiding a lot of people in the industry. I realized that the regulators are not trying to stifle businesses in Nigeria, but they really want to make sure we get it right. So I got the circular yesterday. I jumped off my seat. I was very, very happy. I started checking my accounts. Do I have the money yet? Am I ready? Do I have my documents together? So it's a good thing happening.
Yeah.
Without wasting no time, I'm going to introduce the people online, but can we take 30 seconds to just explain our background, what you do, so people can get to know you real quick, and round it up with how you got into Bitcoin or the crypto space. Please don't spend more than 60 seconds.
All right. So my name is Oluwaseun, but people call me Timi is a god. It's actually a nickname. That's my name on my across social media. Yeah. So what I do basically, I do crypto OTC trading and peer-to-peer trading. But right now, I'm currently running a company. Called VASP. It's a cryptocurrency exchange that enables you to send and receive crypto and also trade crypto peer-to-peer.
You will pay for advert.
So that's what I'm currently running right now.
Awesome.
So that's basically it about me.
You are on ground, boots on ground.
Yes, we are on the streets in Lagos. We are the ones pushing the crypto OTC trading here in Lagos, and we have a network of vendors that we've been working to push the crypto OTC market here in Lagos. So anything crypto OTC, we are the ones running it. We are the one pushing it on ground, on the street here in Lagos, Nigeria.
Let's do it. How is Mariblock, Oluwaseun?
Yeah, man, it's been an exhilarating journey, right? I think we are 16 months old now,
awesome.
Right? Yeah, and I mean the vision started somewhere. I think that should be late 2021,
right?
And you know, it just keeps eating me because you keep seeing the narrative in the Western media about what is happening in Africa. It's just usually it misses
writing our own stories for us.
And so I'm like, okay, I'll get to do this at some point in time, right? And then in April 2022, I think I saw a tweet again by Ariobi, right? And he was like talking about how we need a local media platform and all of that.
Absolutely.
And that moment, I think was that I decided, okay, I was just going to buy the domain name. So I got the domain name, registered the social media, and at the time we were actually Crypto Africa. We started out as Crypto Africa, right? But it wasn't until June that we got started because I didn't feel like I wanted to work on this full time again because I feel like ACIS is going to pay the money, right? I'm passionate about it, but yeah. So, but until I think around June, right, I got a bit more clarity, and then June 14 we went live with my Crypto Africa at the time. It was in November, 1st of December last year that we became Mariblock, right? And just before then, I've been a content person in the space. Working for projects like MakerDAO and all of that, right? Okay. So it's just about bringing my experience. And I'm also a Forbes contributor.
I know. So talking about the fact that you're a Forbes contributor, how are you using that? How are you harnessing that platform for the to really frame our stories around Nigeria and Africa positively? Because I heard you say something like most of the stories that come out of our crypto ecospace, our blockchain ecosystem, you read it on CoinGecko or you read it on
Cointelegraph.
We don't have the homegrown markets, and that's why I set up Satoshi's Journal with my co-founder Jeremy Garcia. But we're Bitcoin only. So tell me, how are you trying to shape the narrative that's got your attention in the first place with Mariblock and of course the platform at Forbes?
Yeah, I mean, also with Forbes, right? Because honestly, this work is a full-time job. It's difficult to combine it with something else, but I have to because to just keep paying the bills. Because we
bootstrap. You gotta pay the bills, bro.
Yeah, just to bootstrap.
Now that there's inflation everywhere, the bills don't double.
It double, my man. So, but the thing is that I think for Mariblock on its own, I feel like we've done some impactful work already, right? And I'll point you to we've run some really interesting stories when the SEC came out in June with the circular against Binance. Yeah,
they threw that circular out twice.
Yeah, so I think our story played a part in that actually happening.
Awesome.
Right, so because when SEC issued the first circular, it stated Binance Nigeria Limited.
And it wasn't a registered business at the time.
It was a registered business.
It was.
But
okay.
We reached out, we were the first to reach out to the guy. I figured out who was behind Binance Nigeria Limited. And the guys just registered it for arbitrage reasons, really. So they were hoping that Binance would come to Nigeria, and then when they want to register a company, they would.
Because I saw CZ's tweets.
Yeah.
I saw CZ's tweets. I don't have beef with CZ, but the fact that he followed me and unfollowed me, so I keep saying it. Binance have 21 validators. If they want to do business in Nigeria, they have to bring their money and fund Nigerian businesses. You cannot just come and take the ecosystem customers. So anyway, I saw CZ's tweet about the Binance Nigeria issue, and he actually co-signed the fact that there wasn't a legit entity of Binance in Nigeria.
Yeah, so he is correct there, but you know the funny thing is
that the founder of Binance, by the way.
Yeah, so we have some background story to that, right? So some things that happened, and if you go on mariblock.com, I could share with you after this, right? So about October last year, some users of Binance had issues. I think there was a flash crash that happened in 2021. And these guys lost about $1 million on
users
Binance.
In Nigeria?
Yeah, about 2 of them. So they went to Binance, and Binance would not refund them.
They locked them out.
So
if they had come to a Nigerian company, they had come to Nigerian founders they would have been able to resolve their issue.
I mean, I think they eventually resolved it. So they took the issue to SEC.
Okay.
Right. It was after this
SEC
guy
intervened.
Yeah, SEC
that they were
intervened.
able to get their stuff.
Yes,
Shout out to
exactly.
SEC. Thank you very much, Securities Exchange Commission.
Yeah. So, but after that happened, right? We got in the know about October last year, and these guys wanted us to like write about it because in the media, and I was like, these issues happen between companies and customer all the time. It's not a matter for the media just yet. So I think you should try to solve this outside of the public eye. So they solved it, and then the SEC issued that circular right after that.
All right.
So now Binance decided to spin the narrative and play a victim, right? So that was what, like, you know,
Pissed SEC off, and they had to.
no, it pissed me off actually.
Okay,
and
because SEC came back and said, you know what,
Yeah.
we are
So
doubling down. This
we
company
reached out
don't
to
exist
we
here.
reached out to SEC asking them questions to clarify. So we did a whole story about what really happened behind the scene, and then I think about 1 week after our story went live, the SEC issued that.
Okay, so hold your thought there. This is why we are talking about building our own ecosystem. Before I introduce my guest online, because I have somebody, a top personality from the SEC, joining us from the UK live. So stay tuned. Timi, you are on ground. You do transactions, right? And luckily for us, today as we sit here, there's a new circular from Central Bank that virtual asset service providers can now regularize. Before now, how have you been surviving in this space? And why have you been steadfast, regardless of whatever draconian policies that has been affecting the business?
Okay, yeah. So, although the news yesterday was like a very good one, you know, I got into OTC trading in 2020, I think 21. Yeah, that was when the first circular came out, and they were like, and the government said no bank should enable any transaction.
Yeah, on the 5th of February, it was a love letter that broke
Yes,
broke,
it was
broke
a love
away,
letter that
broke away
destroyed,
husband
shattered-
and wife,
shattered a
the
lot
banks
of
and the
things.
crypto companies.
It shattered a lot of things, and since then, you know, since like all the companies that were really providing exchange services, they just went on a low. But in the midst of all that, that was when I was getting clarity, and I was like, there's a lot of money to be made in this period, like,
Yes.
because I knew people still wanted to keep trading, and people would not stop trading, especially in Nigeria. So I just took up the initiative. I said,
Fly like you.
I just said, okay, let me just start trading with people on my social media channel, like doing it over the counter. So I just told 1 or 2 people that this is what I do, and I just started trading with people. And before I know it, because of it's a business that markets itself. When you do a successful trade with someone
Yeah.
refers
Referrals.
you, referral.
Positive
So the
referrals.
chain is very long. Like, I didn't have to do any paid advertising. I didn't have to spend so much on that. People just kept referring, and that's how the business started thriving. I think at the end of 2022, when I was checking like bank statements and all, I'd done like over $3 million worth of transactions.
And you'd be like, wow, and
I
I'm not
like-
even a bank yet.
and I'm not a bank,
Now,
like-
hold your thoughts. Now, this is what I have been saying. I say that there is a 10% capital gain. I say it all the time on the show, right? If you dispose of your cryptocurrency, your Bitcoin, for example,
Okay.
the government wants to take 10% of it. I'm saying a lot of us will gladly pay, but you know, allow us the transactions. Now you swept before. Now you swept the business to the black market. Its regulatory clarity is barely 24 hours. So we're still in the black market as we speak. And whatever I put in the black market, you blow the business up.
True.
Right? So transactions that move around in Nigeria daily, I don't have the facts, but I have numbers from
Different
friends,
sources?
from friends around that are doing business. I think I don't know what your numbers are. I don't know the numbers that you have, but I think it's about $50 million.
Daily.
Yeah, between Bitcoin and USDT, not just Bitcoin.
I think that was like in 2021.
I
The
think
numbers,
it's definitely more than that.
it should be
technically
more than that,
right?
It should
Yeah,
be more than
because
that,
I
right?
mean, I speak to, I know you'll be able to speak more to that, but even me outside of the OTC market, I just randomly hear that somebody just moved 70 million.
I mean, some of those import, exports, and
Yeah, those-
bilateral deals. I'm not even,
adding that.
Yeah,
Those
adding that.
people that
I'm
pay
just
for
saying, like
suppliers
the
and
customers, the $1,000, I want to pay
retailers.
for school fees. I
Yeah.
want to buy a tool online. Like legitimate transactions that move around. I'm not even talking about the shady deals that we don't see.
Yeah.
These conversations are conversations we should be having. So the numbers are there. And I'm very glad that the new CBN governor, Mr. Cardoso, is aligning with SEC. Shout out to everybody at the SEC and the Nigerian capital market, and they're trying to do the right thing now. So on that note, if you're just joining us, I want to welcome you again. It's DAS, the Digital Assets Show, Internet Money Podcast. And yes, we have special guests from the diaspora. The first person I'm going to like to introduce is, I have a friend from Kenya. His name is Rufas. I don't know if you know Rufas. He's also a senior contributor.
Yeah,
on Forbes. Yes.
yeah.
Rufas is a Bitcoiner. I love the guy. He understands Bitcoin trading. He understands FX trading, and all the way from Kenya. I'm sure if he had the opportunity, he would have flown down here. He's joining us live on online right now, virtually. I want to thank you for joining us, Rufas, my guy. You're welcome to the Digital Assets Show. If you're there, can I hear your voice, brother? Hello, Rufas. Hello, Rufas. Are you there? Okay. I think Rufas is trying to work on his microphone. So while Rufas is online, there's another young man, friend of mine that I would like to also introduce. He's also a very smart guy who he put out a review of this news circular quickly, I think in just a few hours, and I saw some of the things he wrote, and I see that this thing really concerned a lot of people. And his name is Oluwaseun. Oluwaseun is a tech lawyer, but a blockchain, Bitcoin, crypto enthusiast, and he's joining us live today on the Digital Asset Show virtually. Onyi, are you there? How are you, my brother? I think we are having audio issues. Okay, so, all right. We're going to continue this conversation. Let's go on a quick break so that we can sort whatever it is that we have in interest. I still have Timi, I have Oluwaseun, there's Rufas from Kenya, there's Onyi from Nigeria, and there's a big man who I'm going to introduce when we come back. So sit back, do not go nowhere. Hey, breaking news, in case you have not heard. Bitcoin is now more like legal tender in Nigeria. I didn't say legal tender, but I mean it's no more under ban. Nothing like banks should stop doing or processing transactions for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency companies any longer. That's whatever has been removed. The central bank put out a circular just a few hours ago, yesterday to be precise, and they have removed that blocker. So the space is now being regularized. Guidelines have been released, and we're going to be having that conversation with one of our special guests. So sit back, don't go anywhere. Congratulations, Nigerians. Congratulations to everybody that's doing Bitcoin crypto out there. We're going to be right back. It's DAS. All right, you're welcome back from that break. It's still the Digital Assets Show, your internet money podcast. I am Oluwaseun, and I have been talking to Timi, my guy. Timi is a god, an on-ground OTC and OTC P2P Bitcoin USDT trader, and of course a content creator, a Forbes contributor, founder of Mariblock. My man, Oluwaseun. Thank you guys for coming here. But real quick, I would like to introduce my friend from Kenya. He's a Bitcoiner and also a senior correspondent for Forbes. Rufas. Rufas, my man, are you right there?
Yes,
Rufas
right,
Kamau, all the way from Kenya. How are you today, Rufas?
I'm doing fine. Just getting prepared for the Christmas holidays. I think it has been a great year, especially for everyone in Bitcoin.
My producer, can you turn Rufus' volume up a little bit? I'm hearing him faintly. Thank you very much for joining us, Rufus. You know, breaking news, I'm sure you must have seen it online. Rufus, the Nigerian government, through the central bank, put out a circular yesterday, and now the ban that was on the transactional relationship between cryptocurrency companies and Bitcoin, of course, digital assets, have been lifted. Right there in Kenya, and as an African, how does that make you feel?
First of all, I would like to say congratulations. It's something that we've been waiting for a long time. So here in Kenya, we've been operating in an environment where the Central Bank of Kenya sent over 8 years ago a circular to all banking institutions as well as other financial institutions, telling them not to deal with any cryptocurrency or digital asset companies. So far, that circular has been effective, and we have been pushing across different fronts, try and see if we can get in regulated environment that would allow digital assets to thrive, for people to register companies and engage in building and marketing their products. So I'm very happy to see it finally happening in Nigeria, and I'm hoping that soon we're going to have a different shift across the entire continent. So hopefully, if other regulators are able to identify the opportunities that Nigeria also identified, they could essentially bring in regulations and allow for developers to implement more solutions for their country.
Thank you very much, my man. You know, Nigeria, we are the giant of Africa, and we always lead the pack. A lot of people have been running to Kenya. You know, Kenya took the champion baton when it comes to mobile money. So I think when it comes to cryptocurrency regulation, I think Nigeria is going to champion that part. Rufus, right? So real quick, for those for those people that don't know you, my brother, can you just use 20 seconds, because we don't have a lot of time. I have a lot of questions I want to ask you, to give us a rundown of what you're doing at Forbes, and of course how you found Bitcoin, and why crypto in general. Why are you advocating for Bitcoin crypto in Africa? Real quick, you got 30 seconds, my brother.
Awesome. Thank you. My name is Rufas Kamau. I'm a market analyst and a trader in the financial markets. So my entire career has been in Forex, basically trading currencies, stocks, commodities, indices, as well as cryptocurrencies. So, well, on one side, I work with a local financial marketing broker called FXPesa. So I know it as EGM Securities. So basically my day job goes given what's currently happening in the global financial markets. The major focus on the US as well as European markets. And I try to break that information down for the average investor in Kenya as well as in East Africa to be able to access these products. On the other hand, as per my Bitcoin journey, I started way back in 2014, 2015. This was my first instance getting for Bitcoin, these new popular cryptocurrencies that was speaking on the news. Then I decided to buy my first Bitcoin in 2015. So being the trader I am, I hadn't done any kind of research what it is, what it represents fundamentally. So I basically just viewed Bitcoin as just another financial asset. And as soon as I was up 300% of the position, I got outsold my Bitcoin, and that has been a real big struggle to get back that number. So far, I've been working in Kenya using the Twitter or X platform as my main income, where I do a lot of education, try and help people understand what Bitcoin is, what are the opportunities available in Bitcoin, how do you buy and store your Bitcoin safely. So that has been a big part of my career. And at the same time, I also write for Forbes Digital Assets. So as a senior contributor, I'm majorly focused on what Bitcoin is, trying to bring to light the Bitcoin projects happening across Africa. So whenever I find a very interesting Bitcoin project, I try and do some research, understand what the project is, then tell that story to the world so that you can have accelerated Bitcoin adoption in Africa. Thank you.
Good. That's a very beautiful one, Rufus. And thank you for what you have been doing for the industry, the Bitcoin industry in general in Africa. Let them know that the Digital Assets Show has started the first ever blockchain-based, Bitcoin, crypto-based show in Nigeria, in Africa. I don't think I know of any, because DSTV is the biggest cable network television in Africa, and we are all Africans. And this is the first of its kind. Shout out to Pop Central. We have 1 hour exclusive, so it's a platform for expression for anybody that is in this space doing legitimate business. So hold your thoughts, my brother. Please stick around. We have one special guest with us. Joining us from the UK, the top man from the Nigerian capital market is here. Also, the special man in that room when the VASP, Virtual Asset Service Provider Guidelines, thought process started. His name is Mr. Timi Agama. He has worked around the SEC for so long, and I am so glad to have him here. Mr. Timi Agama, big homie, you're welcome to the Digital Assets Show, sir. Yes, I can hear you now, sir.
But I guess Aminu's phone is ringing a call for prayers, but I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. You're welcome to the Digital Assets Show, sir. How are you today, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. Sorry, my camera is not functioning well. I'm actually out of town, but just because I had to honor this invitation, I definitely thought, it would be okay, even if my camera was not on.
It's okay.
I can still speak to you guys.
It's
So
okay,
how
sir.
are you today?
Yeah, I'm very fine. I'm very fine. I'm here in Nigeria, it's hot out there, but it's a little bit chilling in the studio here. But we're in a celebratory mode, somehow, some way. Not fully 100% happy, but we want to first of all thank you, the work you're doing at the Nigerian capital market and the lots of work you've done and you're still doing at the SEC. You and the top people over there. You guys have done well for us with this new virtual asset service provider license. Real quick, sir, the entire crypto space was thrown into a happy jubilation mode yesterday. Some of us partied overnight because we felt like, okay, it's time for us to do big business because many of us have been losing money for a long time. But when this clarity kind of dropped yesterday, we were so happy. I mean, founders from different parts of the world that are of Nigerian descent have been calling me and saying, what's next? Are we coming back home to come and set our business now? Are we going to be able to compete with Binance and Coinbase now? I said, no, everybody watch the show. I will bring the top man who is one of the brains behind this whole thing to come and explain to us, to come and demystify VASP. What does VASP mean for the Nigerian Bitcoin, crypto, blockchain space? What does this regulatory guideline, the policy that was put out by CBN means for the market, for the young man doing business, for Timi who does OTC, P2P business, for Oluwaseun who writes about blockchain in Nigeria, for anybody that has been doing transaction or willing to do transaction in this space? What does this imply for us, even as a nation, sir?
Right. Okay, thank you. Just to give a disclaimer now is that I'm not speaking for the SEC. I'm speaking in my personal capacity.
All right.
My current role is the managing director of the Nigerian Capital Market Institute, which is a training subsidiary of the SEC. Of course, you are aware of my previous role as head of registration, exchanges, market infrastructure, and innovation. But I'm excited. I'm excited because, of course, I am an enthusiast, and I believe in the fact that this is a good time. The SEC, particularly, in the Nigerian context, has actually led innovations and regulations around, the entire space, not just crypto, the fintech space, as it were. And that came from a very long time ago when the SEC set out the committee, Capital Market Committee on fintech. And of course, it was a market-wide committee that made the recommendations that were very useful to the market. And up till the point on September 2020, when the SEC again, took up the responsibility of issuing out a clarification guideline regarding initial coin offering, STOs, and everything that needed to be, made clear to the general public in order for us to all be in sync with international standards.
Yes.
But clearly, for the SEC, it's about the fundamental reason of its existence. And that fundamental reason is the protection of investors.
Good.
In any way the SEC can and would, the SEC would certainly protect investors. However, the regulation does not operate in silos. And hence, since the CBN, which is the banking regulator, had not given a nod to the fintech institutions, crypto exchanges particularly, to have a bank account with them, which is a primary requirement for the registration of any of these institutions. It was, a bit of a challenge for the SEC to go along in, registering all of, these institutions. The circular is very clear. The new circular that was issued, by the central bank, about the fact that, its decision is actually premised to a large extent on the fact that the SEC has issued regulation on the VASP. What is the regulation of the VASP? The regulation of the VASP speaks to the licensing of all of those paraphernalia. So VASP is a very wide language. So it doesn't only talk about, a crypto exchange, it talks about a custodian, it talks about every other apparatus that is involved in the entire, infrastructure space on this. And so the VASP regulation is detailed, wide enough to cover every operator within that space. So that regulation, it comes to life with this other part of it. That's the financial part of it, and that financial part of it is the flow process between the exchanges, the bank, and the customer. And within all of that, what is critical and important in this space is risk management. Risk management cannot be overemphasized.
Absolutely,
And
I agree.
In risk management, you are speaking to consumer protection, and that is critical. And once all of those, pieces are put in place, then we are good, for a ride. So congratulations, Nigeria, and we hope we can get it better.
Thank you. Congratulations, Nigeria. I really like what you just said. I know you want to ask a question, but real quick, I want to use the opportunity to check if Onyi is right there. Are you there, my brother?
Yeah, hi, I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Aha, we can hear you. Our legal tech, bro.
Right.
We will not be able to go deep into trying to know you, but I'm sure you heard Mr. Dr. Timi Agama. I shouldn't have used the word Mr. because he has warned me. I'm a doctor, so you have to address me as such. So Dr. Timi Agama, the MD of Nigerian Capital Market, of course, is involved directly with the SEC, just told us that the circular speaks for itself. And no matter how the guideline may be strict, it's to protect investors. You as a tech lawyer, and of course as a blockchain enthusiast, how did you feel when you got a hold of the circular that was dropped like a bomb yesterday?
Right, thank you again for having me. Just confirming that you can hear me.
Yes, absolutely, I can hear you, my brother. Just speak louder, then we're
Right,
good.
perfect. Okay, so straight to it, I think for me, the first thing that crossed my mind is now my clients can go ahead and do their business without fear of what's going to happen
That kind
tomorrow
of thing.
because of the regulatory uncertainty around, the entire thing. So the SEC had come up with the regulation for issuance of licenses to for digital assets, custodian asset service providers. But what had happened, just like Dr. Timi had said, is you couldn't essentially carry on anything because the CBN had said that the financial institutions and the OFIs should not deal with you. So there was sort of like a stalemate. So now that CBN is coming to say, you know what, you guys can do business, you can now open accounts, have bank accounts, and carry on banking business. Banks can now open accounts for VASPs. I think it was sort of a relief for me. There were a couple of things that, maybe a little bit strange.
Yeah, let me use the opportunity to ask you real quick. I read something that you put on LinkedIn, which was why I reached out to you, my brother. As interesting as the guidelines, of course, lots of pages, as interesting, as exciting as it is, you were able to spot some, I'm not going to call it loopholes or maybe not so clear messages. So what are those things that raise your eyebrow and you think that maybe we might need some more clarity in the new circular / guideline that came from the CBN / the SEC?
Right. So I think the first thing is that first of all, props to the CBN. I think the guideline is very straightforward. I also like the fact that the CBN had not tried to dabble into so many things. So you can see very clearly that there's an intention by the apex regulator to still understudy the ecosystem. So I imagine that this is like a first step in a lot of other regulatory guidelines that we'll still have in terms of regulating the space and having a lot more clarity. So as the regulator as the CBN has more clarity, I'm sure that there's going to be a lot more follow-on guidelines. But I think one thing for me that I'm still, I've not yet understood what the the play is how payment service providers exactly are going to play in space. So
That part.
there is a sort of restriction to people, partner entities that have settlement capacity, right? So and not all.
There's a difference between
have-
switchers and yeah, I get where you're going.
I clear it. Yeah. So right. So the question is, how does this play out in practical terms? Right. That is something that I'm still sort of, exploring. I'm waiting to see how the market is going to respond to this. But I think that for me, the main takeaway is that now you can go ahead and open bank accounts. Now you can, as long as you have, your VASP license from the SEC, you can go ahead and deal with the banks. I think again, there's something that happens in the fintech space, which is that you have certain players who do not have licenses leverage entities that have licenses. So you say maybe you want to provide payment services, you can, leverage the license of somebody else. You can, maybe you want to provide wallet service and your license does not allow you to provide wallet service. Offer wallet services, you can leverage, maybe an entity that has that capacity. What I think, or what I believe is going to be the issue here is that the regulator would not allow such a thing. Again, for obvious reasons, it's a very high risk at the moment, high risk endeavor. So having this first step by the CBN, I imagine there's still going to be a lot of strict oversight, right?
Yes.
So if you do not have licenses, I'm sure the banks will not be allowed to deal with the open bank accounts for you at all. So I think those are the two things that I'm still waiting to see how it is going to play out in the market.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Because of time, that'll be all on your side because I really want to appreciate you. Real quick, once again, Oyindolapo Olushesi is a data protection expert, a compliance and a legal personnel for fintechs, and I think it will be operating more in the blockchain space now. We don't have time, so I won't be able to ask you another question. There are lots of stuff I would have loved you to contribute to, but please stick around because you might just hear some things, especially from Mr. Timi Agama or from the guest that I have here. Thank you so much for featuring on the show today. I would love to bring you back more times. Before I go back to Mr. Timi, because I do not have lots of time, do you have any concern about the circular and the guidelines right now? I would like to ask you first because this is your business. The last time I heard from SEC, I heard it's 100 million, 500 million, something like that. And you that you're on ground, how does that make you feel? Do you have skepticism? What are your fears? I know you're happy to some level, but you were telling me some things before we came to the studio. So what are your concerns?
Okay, so actually it's a very welcome and it's an open development. It's something we in the industry have been expecting for a while. I myself have been waiting for this day and I didn't know it was going to come this soon. So what's going to happen right now is that for a lot of people in the informal sector, the OTC guys, the P2P market, a lot of them are going to go out of business. That's the honest truth because of people want regulation, people want accountability, they want to hold on to an entity they can trust, you get. So with the new regulation that is coming in, people will be moving on to exchanges that are regulated by the SEC, knowing that their funds, their cryptocurrency assets, their virtual assets are in safe hands. And no matter what happens, they're always going to be protected, their funds are always going to be secure. So because of that, a lot of a lot of small businesses that have been doing the OTC thing, doing the P2P thing, they either partner up, to form a big corporation that could actually have the valid documents, the capital, to get all this regulation.
Yes.
If they don't do that, they're going to go out of business. So I would like to say that. So in a nutshell, this is going to bring more. I would like to bring more order into the space. There will be less cases of fraud, of anyhowness in the OTC, the B2B, in the general cryptocurrency market. With the cases of what happened with one or two companies that went out and people's funds got missing,
Yes.
it has given a bad name to
Are
crypto.
you talking about Patricia?
Okay, so
No, look, there's really nothing to
I
hide. This
did-
is our industry, and we really need to clean it up.
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
shout out to Hanu and what he has done for this space, but it's going through a lot right now, and we're gonna demystify that sometime, some way. So yeah,
Yeah, so I was talking about that, Patricia, and some other companies, that just went out. When the old regulation came back, then when they introduced the ban, some companies just disappeared with people's funds.
Yeah,
like
it's
up
crazy.
to today, there are some
Yeah.
companies that were.
and some of the
in-
founders have gone to found another
Yes,
business.
they
and they're
went to
still
find another
existing.
business. They just took people's money and they didn't return it. They never
How I
returned it.
wish it is our own SEC that held CZ down here.
So with things like this in place now, customer can be rest assured that whatever assets, whatever cryptocurrency they are trading is going to be safe, is going to be in good hands. So
Alright.
I think that's the best thing that could ever happen to someone. And for a lot of global exchanges that have been using that opportunity that there's no regulation to take a part of the market share, because there were a lot of issues with customers, with some global exchanges like Binance, they're having their accounts frozen. There was a time Binance was trading because a lot of Nigerians had their accounts
and they
restricted
were
on the
hurting
platform.
Nigerians
Yes, and
a
they had no
lot.
office, so they were doing this and going scot-free. So right now, with the introduction of this regulation, a lot of local crypto exchanges will see a lot of onboarding, a lot of customers moving to these exchanges
Beautiful.
due
If
to the fact that they are on ground, they have offices on ground, so there will be a lot of trust, and people will not want to, how would I say it,
You
put
need
their
to round
money
up your
on
point, drive
all
your
of
point,
this
because I give you the chance, you will talk forever.
on these global exchanges again. So it's going to be a big development. It's going to be a big opportunity for local exchanges, and it's going to add a lot to the Nigerian economy, because the numbers that local exchanges are doing in terms of remittances through Bitcoin and crypto, I think it was about where Paxful put out a number in 2021.
No,
I think they
Ray
said
Paxful at Bitcoin 2021 said over $1 billion, over 1.5 billion.
Yeah, it was close to $2 billion in
transaction at
Bitcoin
time. I think every
transaction.
day is over. I think it's over $50 million.
That was only on Paxful. We don't know the numbers for Binance. We don't know the other numbers for other local and informal
that nobody
sectors.
don't even talk about.
See, right now, everybody in the market will be wanting a piece of the cryptocurrency market or the OTC.
And I hope
crypto
and I,
exchange
and I,
market.
and I
So
hope it's
a very
properly cleaned
welcome-
up.
Yeah.
Thank
it's a
you.
welcome
Thank you. Let's leave it
development.
at that. Okay, so last words from you, because I want to go to Mr. Timi now so we can round up the show. Last word from you is going to be, as a content creator, how would you rather shape the story now such that the regulators are going to be guided, the businesses will be guided, the participants will be aware, and again, the foreign, maybe the VCs or the companies that have been around before or that want to come will see a better kind of content to consume from the source, from home itself.
I think it's just about doing, that is what we're doing already at Mariblock, really. And I'll tell you that Nigeria is our largest audience base, then followed by Kenya. Then number 3 is actually the United States, right? We have quite a number of, so we have like an audience group that we call the African Observers, right? So it's just about, and for us, it's just, providing that objective view about the market. So for example, as much as I think this latest development it's a win, right? It's a step in the right direction. Initially, I thought it was hostile, right? But as I looked at it, I read it that, and I felt like, okay, I think you have to understand the context. These guys the CBN is just reversing this in after 3 years, right? And it's taking a cautious approach to understanding the space and just managing and the risk that is involved, right? I think my only concern would be around how many companies can really afford the SEC 500 million naira paid up capital, right? So, and I think that is something
$500,000, bro.
that is something I would love to hear from Dr. Timi about.
Okay,
really.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm going to bring the two of you back, I think, next week, because this conversation is something we're going to be having back to back. Wait, hold it thought, Timi. I know you want to talk about this. You have time. We have just about 2 minutes. Dr. Timi, are you still there, sir?
I'm here.
All right. So the concern of most of the on-ground businessmen and women, a few of them, I believe many of them want to come in now that there's regulatory clarity, is how many people will be able to pay the paid up capital shares of about 500 million naira. Do we have smaller license fee cost for just the street P2P traders, et cetera, et cetera? This is a concern because millions of dollars move in the black market of this business daily from the P2P OTC desk. So what would you like to say about this, sir?
Okay, thank you for that question. It's important because it allows me the opportunity to provide some education. So when you speak to minimum capital is not money you give to the SEC. No, it's your money. It's your facility. It's your infrastructure. It's everything about what business you're doing. So if you do not have, let's take the simple analogy. You don't give your money to a broke or hungry man to keep for you.
100%.
Because if you do, what will happen? It will eat it up.
Yes.
Right? So the best thing to do is to give your money to somebody who has the capacity to feed himself, then keep yours without looking at it.
Yes.
That's the essence of minimum capital. Right? It's different from the licensing fees, which are usual and normal because regulation costs money.
Yes.
And so if regulation costs money, somebody got to pay for it.
Absolutely.
So people must, differentiate the minimum capital from the licensing fees. So that understanding. And another point I want to make to a lot of young founders and co-founders.
You're going to make that real quick because we have to go now, sir.
Right. Okay. So that point is simple. Don't think of doing this alone.
Good.
Cooperate with others. Right? Cooperation and make rice food pot, according to Allah.
Nasu.
Let's get it done.
Nasu.
Bye.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And now we have come to the end of the show. It's so sad that every time we're having a fantastic session, the time always flies very fast. I want to appreciate you, Dr. Timi, for coming. I want to appreciate Ola Dikbo for showing up, right? Or Ola Doyin, my guy. Yes. Ola Onyi Dolakpo. I'm sorry for messing your name up, my lawyer friend. Make you no come sue me. I want to thank you, Oluwaseun, for writing stories about Bitcoin businesses, blockchain businesses in Africa. Please do more. Please do more. This is the one-stop show for everything crypto in Nigeria right now. Pop Central is doing a lot. They know this is a big space and they really want to support. And that's why we're here live. Timi, I know you're concerned. You have heard it now. 500 million naira doesn't mean come and give it to SEC, but you have to show the worst. Nobody wants to give you money when they don't trust you. I know you do transactions in hundreds of thousands of dollars, accumulation of millions of dollars yearly. You and I do transactions all the time. But spread this news and let people know. Thank you for coming. I remain Oluwaseun. Thank you guys for listening to us today. We lost a lot of time. We started late, but next week we're going to be right back. Shout out to all of my crew members, my producer. Shout out to Pop Central. Thank you, everybody on Twitter, everybody on IG. Meet us same time next week, the Digital Assets Show. We'll be right back. I remain Oluwaseun. I love you all. Bye-bye.